Hey guys, my name is Tito and I make videos on personal finance every week, and in this video I'll be showing you how I bought 100,000 Naira worth of FUGAZ shares using two different apps. Now, in a recent video I talked extensively about what FUGAZ is and why it's a big deal, but in summary, right, FUGAZ is the acronym of 5 of the biggest banks in Nigeria, our tier 1 banks. And they've been doing really well in the banking industry and in the Nigerian stock market. So I decided to put some of my money in shares of these 5 banks. And I'm going to be showing you how I did that in this video. Now, this video is by no means investment advice. It's just for entertainment purposes. And it's an experiment to show you guys how to go about buying shares with these two apps. Now, in this experiment, I'm going to be splitting the 100,000 Naira purchase of shares equally between the Bamboo app and the Trove app, which means that I'm going to spend 50,000 Naira buying shares on the Bamboo app, then I'll spend 50,000 Naira buying the same shares, but on the Trove app this time around. And since there are 5 FUGAZ banks, i.e. First Bank, UBA, GTCO, Access, and Zenith Bank, I'm going to be splitting my purchase equally between those 5 banks. So it's going to be 20,000 Naira that I'm going to spend buying shares in each of those 5 banks, which comes to 100,000 Naira. But since I'm using 2 apps to buy the shares, it means that, for example, when I'm buying the First Bank shares, I'll spend 10,000 Naira buying First Bank shares using Bamboo first, then I'll head over to Trove and spend another 10,000 Naira buying First Bank shares with the Trove app, which comes to 20,000 Naira in total, and I'm going to do that for all 5 banks. Now, the objective of this experiment is to compare both apps to see if one is easier to use than the other or more effective than the other, and also to compare the charges, because these apps do charge us some kind of transaction fee to purchase shares. So those are the objectives of this experiment. That said, let's buy some FUGAZ shares. Now, we'll begin by buying 10,000 Naira worth of First Bank shares on the Bamboo app. But the thing about First Bank is that you can't find First Bank on these apps. What you will find is First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, which is the holding company of First Bank. So if you're trying to buy First Bank shares, actually you need to search for FBNH or FBN Holdings, which, like I said, is the holding company of First Bank. So once you find it, you click on it. And there it is, it's 23 Naira per share for FBNH shares. You click buy at the bottom. Now in this next window, you type in the number of shares of FBNH shares you want to buy. Now I need to explain something to you guys at this point. You know I want to buy 10,000 Naira worth of First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, right? Well, on Bamboo and Trove, you cannot enter the Naira amount. What you can enter in the space provided when you want to buy shares is the number of shares you want to buy. So to get the number of shares, what I have to do is I need to divide my 10,000 Naira by the price per share of First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, which, as we saw earlier, is 23 Naira. So 10,000 Naira divided by 23 Naira gives me 434 shares. And that's what I type in the space. Then I click on Review Order. And then I select where I want the money to be debited from, and I select my Naira wallet. And then it shows me a review order or a summary of the transaction for me to go through. Everything looks okay, and then I click place order for the order to go through. Now, if you noticed, towards the end of the transaction, Bamboo showed me the details of my order on the app, but those details or numbers were estimates. Once they actually buy me the shares, because what I just did was to place an order, once the shares are actually bought by Bamboo, Bamboo will send an email to my inbox, which is kind of like a receipt. And in that email, rather, it will contain the actual numbers and the actual details of the transaction. So for example, with my transaction in the email sent to me, they bought me 434 shares of First Bank of Nigeria Holdings at 23 Naira and 15 kobo per share. And I was charged 152 Naira and 45 kobo as commission or transaction fees from Bamboo. So it's the email that you should look for that contains the actual charges and fees and the cost per share that you bought your shares at. Now let's head over to Trove to see how many units of FBN Holdings my 10,000 Naira can get me over there. So once I open the app, the first thing I do is to search for FBN Holdings in the search bar. And I see that it's 23 Naira and 20 kobo per share at this point in time. So to know how many units I can buy with 10,000 Naira, I just do 10,000 Naira divided by 23 Naira and 20 kobo, and that comes to 431 shares. And I type that in the space provided, 431, and I click on review cost. And looks good to me, that's almost 10,000 Naira. And I swipe right on swipe to buy. And then it shows me a breakdown of the purchase or the order, right? And once again, this is like an estimate. The actual details or the actual figures will be contained in an email that Trove will also send to me in my inbox, my email inbox. I think Trove sends 3 emails. One saying that the order is pending, another one saying that the order is being processed, and then a third one saying that the order has been completed. It's that one that says the order has been completed that will contain the actual figures in terms of how much your shares were bought at and your transaction fees. Although the transaction fees tend to also be accurate on the app. So this transaction fee that I'm seeing right now is the actual transaction fee on Trove. Now that we understand the basics, let's move on to the next FUGAZ stock. And I think we can move a bit faster now. So we're back on Bamboo to buy 10,000 Naira worth of UBA shares. So once I've opened the app, in the search bar, I type UBA and it comes out and I see it's 23 Naira per share at this moment. So in order to get, well, first let me click on buy. And yeah, I'm meant to type the number of shares I want to buy right now. So as usual, I'll take my 10,000 Naira, divide it by the price per share, which is 23 Naira, and that gives me 434 units. So I type that in and I click on review order, and then it asks me where I want to be debited from. So I click on my Naira wallet here on the Bamboo app, which I have already funded earlier, right? And it shows me my review order. Everything looks okay. And I will now click place order. It's processing. And then after a few seconds, it will tell me that my order has indeed been submitted. And yeah, and once again, the details will be sent to my inbox, my email inbox with the receipt once the shares have actually been bought. Now I'm back on Trove to buy 10,000 Naira worth of UBA shares here as well. And upon opening the app, the first thing I do is to search for UBA using the search icon. I find UBA and I see that it's currently selling at 23 Naira and 20 kobo per share. I click buy, and to figure out how many units that will get me, I do 10,000 Naira divided by 23 Naira and 20 kobo. That gives me around 431 units, and that's what I type in the space, 431, and I click on review cost, and then I swipe right on swipe to buy, and it shows me my order breakdown. Everything looks okay, and I swipe right on swipe to buy once again to place my order, and it shows me that my order has been placed. Now for the third FUGAZ stock that I want to buy, I head back to Bamboo to buy 10,000 Naira worth of GTCO shares. And once the app is open, I click on the search bar and I type in GTCO. The company comes out, I select it, I see that it's 47 Naira and 20 kobo per share of GTCO. I click on buy, and next I'm meant to enter the number of shares of GTCO that I want to buy. To figure that out, I take 10,000 Naira divided by 47 Naira and 20 kobo, and that comes to 211 shares. So I type that in, 211, and then I click on review order, and then I select where I want to be debited from, and I select my Naira wallet here on the Bamboo app. You know, my Naira wallet is funded, and it shows me my review order, which is essentially the summary of the purchase. Everything looks okay. I click on purchase order, and eventually it says that my order has been submitted. My shares will be bought soon, and they'll send me a receipt in my email inbox. So back on the Trove app to buy 10,000 Naira of GTCO this time around. In the search bar, I search for GTCO and it comes out. I see that it's also 47 Naira and 20 kobo here, and I click buy, and it's time to enter the number of shares I want to buy. And since it's the exact same price as it was on Bamboo, i.e. 47 Naira and 20 kobo, I know that that will get me 211 units. So I type in 211 and I click review cost, and then it shows me, a brief how much I'm going to be paying. Essentially, I swipe right on swipe to buy, and then it shows me the order breakdown. Everything looks okay once again, and then I swipe right on swipe to buy again. And it tells me that my order has been placed. Now I'm back on Bamboo to buy shares in the fourth FUGAZ bank, and this time it's Access Bank. However, you can't find Access Bank on the apps. What you'll find is Access Holdings, because Access Holdings is the holding company for Access Bank. So we'll search for Access Holdings. And once it comes out, we see that it's 19 Naira and 65 kobo per share. I click on buy. And to see how many units that will get me, what I need to do is to divide my 10,000 Naira by 19 Naira and 65 kobo, and that will give me 508 shares. So I type 508 and I hit review order, and then it asks me where I want to be debited from, or how I want to pay for these shares. I select my Naira wallet, and then it shows me my review order. Everything checks out, everything looks good, and I click on place order. It tells me my order has been submitted, and I'm now good to go to head over to Trove to buy 10,000 Naira of Access Holdings there as well. Now I'm on Trove to buy 10,000 Naira of Access Holdings here as well, and the first thing I do is to search for Access Holdings, which here is also known as Access Corp, and I see that it's 19 Naira and 70 kobo per share. I click buy, and it's time to enter the number of shares. So to find out how many shares my 10,000 Naira will get me, that's 10,000 Naira divided by 19 Naira and 70 kobo. That comes to 507 shares. So I enter that in, 507. I click on review cost, and it looks good to me. So I swipe to buy at the bottom, and it shows me my order breakdown. Once again, everything looks fine. And at the bottom, again, I will swipe to buy to make the purchase. And it says my order has been placed. Now to buy shares in the final FUGAZ bank, which is Zenith Bank, I head back to Bamboo and I type in Zenith Bank, and I see the company, click on it, and I see that it's 35 Naira and 95 kobo per share. I click on buy, and to figure out how many units of Zenith Bank my 10,000 Naira can get me, that will be 10,000 Naira divided by 35.95, and that will give me 278 units. So I enter that for the number of shares I want to buy, and then I click on review order, and then it asks me where I want to make the payment from. I select my Naira wallet here on the Bamboo app, and then it displays my review order. And there's a slight problem. Just in the short time I've been doing this transaction, the share price has gone from 35 Naira 95 kobo to 36 Naira. And the total amount, or the total cost of the shares, is now more than 10,000 Naira. And I don't want it to be more than 10,000 Naira because my budget is 10,000 Naira. I need it to be lower than 10,000 Naira, or 10,000 Naira on the dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to reduce the number of shares I want to buy by 1. So I am now going to just opt for 277 units. Yeah, and this looks much better. This is now under 10,000 Naira. That's without the commission, right? So that looks good to me. I will click on place order. And finally, to buy 10,000 Naira worth of Zenith Bank shares on Trove, I search for Zenith Bank in the search bar. I click on Zenith Bank and I see that it's 35 Naira and 90 kobo per share. I click on buy and I'm now meant to enter the number of shares I want to buy. So to do that, it's now 10,000 Naira divided by 35 Naira and 90 kobo. And that gives me 278 shares. So I type that in and then I click on review cost. And there's a problem once again. It's now more than 10,000 Naira. And remember, my budget is 10,000 Naira. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to deduct one share and make it 277 units, right? Click on review cost. Yeah, and that looks much better. This is now under 10,000 Naira. And I swipe right to buy. It shows me my order breakdown. I scan through, everything looks good. And then one more time, I swipe right to buy. And it says my order has indeed been placed. And click done. And I'm done. I've now bought 20,000 Naira worth of shares in all 5 FUGAZ banks using 2 apps. Now, in the second part of this video, I'm going to calculate how much I was charged in form of transaction fees by Bamboo and Trove so that we know which one of them was cheaper. So, to buy FBN Holdings shares on Bamboo, the transaction fee that I was charged was 152 Naira and 45 kobo, while to buy FBN Holdings shares on Trove, I was charged 239 Naira and 5 kobo. Now, to buy UBA shares on Bamboo, I was charged 152 Naira and 77 kobo, while to buy UBA shares on Trove, I was charged 239 Naira and 5 kobo. Now, to buy GTCO shares on Bamboo, I was charged 150 Naira and 68 kobo, while to buy GTCO shares on Trove, I was charged 238 Naira and 11 kobo. To buy Access Holdings shares on Bamboo, I was charged 151 Naira and 49 kobo, while to buy Access Holdings shares on Trove, I was charged 238 Naira and 79 kobo. To buy Zenith Bank, finally, to buy Zenith Bank shares on Bamboo, I was charged 151 Naira and 75 kobo, while to buy Zenith Bank shares on Trove, I was charged 238 Naira and 74 kobo. So in total, Bamboo charged me 759 Naira and 14 kobo for all these transactions, while Trove charged me 1,193 Naira and 74 kobo. So it was cheaper to buy all these shares on Bamboo. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've been able to gain value from this video in terms of learning how you can buy shares of Nigerian companies using apps like Trove and Bamboo. You can feel free to let me know in the comment section down below what some of your favorite Nigerian stocks are, or if you own some of the FUGAZ stocks as well. You can let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and like it by clicking on that like button. Also, share this video with anyone who you feel might benefit from it, or anyone who you know is trying to learn a bit more about investing. I think this video will be very helpful to them. And finally, subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. My name is Tito. I remain invested in your success, and I will see you in the next one next week. Take care.